Alrighty, boys and girls, we're already halfway done with the chapter. Time for a test, and that means time for a review. So go ahead and try these problems out while the video is paused. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so for each of these, we're just going to turn the radius into diameter or diameter into radius. Here we have a 5-meter diameter. Half of that is going to be the radius, which is 2.5 meters. Here we have a 6-inch radius. Diameter is going to be double that. That's going to be 12 inches. Here we have a diameter of 12 feet. Half of that is going to be a radius, which is 6 feet. Here we have a radius of 4 yards, and double that would be the diameter, which would be 8 yards. Alrighty, here's another set of questions. Pause the video and press play when you're ready. Okay, so for circumference, we have two equations. C equals 2 times pi times radius, if we have radius, or if we have diameter, C equals pi times diameter. So for the first one, we have radius, so we're going to use this equation. C equals 2 times pi times radius. So we have 2 times pi, which is 22 over 7, times the radius, which in this case is 5 feet. I can make those fractions by putting it over 1. And when I multiply for the numerator, I get 220. Denominator, I end up getting 7. And when I divide this in my calculator, I end up getting 31.42, and then it keeps going. If I wanted to round this to the nearest tenth, look to the right. Since it's not 5 or more, this is going to end up being 31.4 feet. Now for the next one, I have a diameter here, so I'm going to use this equation. C equals pi times diameter. Again, for pi, we're going to use 22 over 7. For the diameter, we have 9 meters. Make that a fraction by putting it over 1. 22 times 9, that's going to be 198. 7 times 1 is 7. The units are meters. When I divide this in my calculator, I get 28.28, and then it continues. So rounding to the nearest tenth, that's going to round to 28.3, and again with the units, meters. Alrighty, next section. Try and work on these ones. Press play when you think you have it. Alrighty, so remember the formula for area is area equals pi times radius squared. And remember, that means pi times radius times radius. The radius squared means you have radius twice. So the first one, we have a radius. It's pretty straightforward. So we have area equals pi times radius squared. Pi is going to be 22 over 7. Our radius is 2 inches, so we have times 2 inches times 2 inches. Don't forget your units. Make these into fractions by putting it over 1. With my numerators, when I multiply straight across, I end up getting 88, and with the denominator, I end up getting 7. Inch times inch is inch squared. Now, when I divide this in the calculator, I end up getting 12.57, and rounding to the nearest tenth, when I look to the right, that's 5 or more, so this is going to be 12.6 inches squared. Now for the next one, I have a diameter here. Before I do anything, I need to come up with the radius, which is half that. So 5 divided by 2 is going to be 2.5, so my radius is 2.5 meters. So I end up with area equals pi times radius squared. So I have 22 over 7 times my radius, which is again 2.5 meters, times 2.5 meters. I can make those fractions if I want to by putting them over 1. When I multiply straight across, I end up with a numerator of 137.5 and a denominator of 7. Meters times meters is meters squared. And when I divide this in the calculator, I end up getting 19.64, and it keeps on going. So rounding to the nearest tenth is going to give me 19.6 meters squared. Alright, for the next one, this one, hopefully you noticed, is a semicircle, half of a circle. I'm still going to solve it the same way, but since this formula gives me the area of an entire circle, I'm going to divide my final answer by 2. So, for this one, again I have a diameter, so if the diameter is 10 meters, that means my radius is going to be 5 meters. So, the formula we have area equals pi times radius squared. So I have 22 over 7 times 5 meters times 5 meters. And I can make those into fractions by putting them over 1. When I multiply straight across, for my numerator, I end up getting 550. And for my denominator, I end up getting 7 meters times meters, meters squared. Now, 550 divided by 7 is going to be 78.57. And if I round this, I get 78.6 divided by 2, and I end up getting 39.3, remember your unit, meters squared. Remember, the reason why I divided by 2 at the end is because I only have half a circle. 78.6 meters squared would have been the area of an entire circle. Cut it in 2 to get that half circle. And we're going to do the same thing here. Area equals pi times radius squared. Pi is 22 over 7. This time they give me the radius, so I have 3 meters times 3 meters, twice because it's squared. I make those into fractions by putting it over 1. When I multiply straight across on top, I end up getting 198. When I multiply across on the bottom, I end up getting 7. Meters times meters is going to be meters squared. And when I divide this, I'm going to end up getting 28.28, and it keeps on going in your calculator. Remember, we have half of a circle, so we're going to divide this by 2. We end up getting 14.14. And when we round this to the nearest tenth, we end up getting 14.1. Remember your units, meters squared. And that is the area of that semicircle. Okay, let's take a look at the next section. All right, when you think you have the answers, go ahead and press play. Okay, so for both of these, we're finding volume of a prism. This one's a rectangular prism. This one's triangular prism. So for this one, the formula is volume equals length times width times height. So we're going to multiply the different dimensions we have here. And the truth is, if you mix up these dimensions, like if you have width times height times length, it's still going to give you the same answer. It doesn't matter at all. When you multiply this, numerically you get 180. Centimeter times centimeter times centimeter, it's 3 of them, so you get centimeters cubed to the 3rd power. Right here, because of that triangle, remember a triangle is half of a rectangle, so we have volume equals 1/2 times base of the triangle times height of the triangle times height of the whole prism. Again, if you mix up the numbers, you still get the right answer. 1/2, remember that is 0.5 as a decimal, so we're going to have that times the 3 inches times the 7 inches times 9 inches for the height of the whole entire prism. When you multiply all these numbers, you end up with 94.5, and our units, inch times inch times inch, it's going to be inch cubed. Alrighty, boys and girls, if you were able to do all of those, you should be in really good shape for the test. All right, see you in class.